It's kind of like our bonus episode, isn't it?
Yeah, he said he was interested in stepping in on this. Anyway, the other welcome. Sorry about the delay. Was in your restroom. Anyway, my name is Bruce. With me is SPD Director of Kai, Director Kai of St. Rant.
Yep.
You're getting quite a good name for yourself among some of our peers, and they really appreciate having you around. Sorry about the other night. You were wanting to get some things in, and you're like, I'm going to go blow up shit. I'll see you later.
Yep, I did. I went to go blow up some shit because honestly, it was starting to turn into a rant about races and shit. And I'm opinionated, but I was realizing that the conversation wasn't going in a way that I was going to get a word in otherwise. So I was just like, nope, I'm out. I'm out on this one.
Yeah, I'm late, guys. I'm sorry about that. Hungar or Victor, if you two wanted to jump in, you can. But I'll let you guys let me know about it in the chat.
Hey.
Say again, Kai?
I was just saying I'd hide a Hungar in chat.
Okay. We're seeing some weird stuff going on, and I don't know if this is a coordinated function, if this is them trying to get rid. Hey, Multi-Gun Man. I don't know if they're trying to get rid of the hobby, or if it's just a bunch of different voices that are happy to collapse what we enjoy doing. But it looks like it. It really looks like it. And
man,
we had a bunch of negative nanny issues in the fall and winter of last year. Then we had that PBS article that looks like it was pastiched and written by committee.
Right.
Yeah.
Honestly, with how Hasbro has been running, watching some of the inner news has been happening with who's been brought in, who's been hired. It really just highlights this thought I've had about the idea that the corporations don't understand what they've got or what they're doing. Because Hasbro brought in an exec from EA. You got to remember that one. And note that as soon as that exec arrives, suddenly we have we need to put out pretty much microtransactions all to death. We're under monetized, and then the whole thing starts to move towards this weird direction. And honestly, it's not that they're going to collapse the hobby. The hobby's it's here. It's going to be here now. It's entrenched. But the thing is that they're thinking that, well, we're the biggest name in the boat, so we can do whatever we want, and you all have to. And this time, unlike it was 10, 11, however long ago it was when Pathfinder 1 came out, about 14 years now, since the death of Third. And everyone else is now pretty much established now, and there's a lot more community, a lot more interaction and communication happening. And when you have even major lawyers who are sitting here going, let me look at this, and then suddenly they're all going, yeah, no, I honestly think it's just that the EA execs and Hasbro looking at WotC and going, do this, and WotC, and everybody smart's already jumped ship a long time ago. And they all ran, everybody who was smart jumped ship and started their own companies, started their own things. So now what you have is pretty much this legacy of individuals who are pretty much just sucking on a what feels like a dying corpse. And the industry is fine. There's enough people who are now in miniatures, maps, other things, sites that cater to customizing things. That, dear God, I don't think WotC's hoping that they can just change the rules and go, we now control everything, and it's just no. no one's liking it. No one's going to work with it. So, yeah.
I would hate to think they're working together to try to besmirch the hobby. Between the awkward article at the PBS and what Hasbro is doing by trying to invalidate what cannot be invalidated.
Right.
It doesn't feel like they have an actual idea of what they want. It really
doesn't. You're right. It doesn't. But you also got to realize that we're kind of in this point now where legacy media is dying. You got to realize that. I mean, gaming, the traditional media format for websites. So, your Kotakus, all your trash gaming sites that spent a decade going, ever since Gamergate, going, fuck you, everyone, you're all trash. They're dying. Traditional media is dying. Broadcast media is dying. A lot. So that means you're not getting the ad rates you're used to being. So a lot of these people need to have clickbait titles. Hell, we engage in clickbait shit. I find it to be the most abhorrent material. Oh fuck! Even someone who I used to watch a lot, to go into a little bit of politics here, like watching Tim Pool go from I milk toast fence sitter to all I do is clickbait shit that waffles from day to day, and if you're an actual hardcore watcher of him, shit that he says 6 months ago, he disavows, like no, I never believed any of that shit. I go, fuck you. 12 months ago, you believed that shit. You were hawking that shit hard because you are a clickbaiter. You put your little sensational titles out, and then suddenly, and then everyone jumps and freaks out. I mean, hell, as much as I love Clownfish Media, I watch them for their shit. They engage in clickbait shit. Everybody engages in clickbait. I just sit there and go, do I even want to click on this title because it's just clickbait. So of course PBS is going to write a trash article because I guarantee nobody who's actually wrote that article plays the game. I can almost guarantee you nobody who wrote that article plays Dungeons and Dragons or any fantasy RPG whatsoever. It's just mechanical crap. You're right. Tim Pool has never seen a fence he doesn't want to sit on, but boy, does he waffle! He waffles so much that I think I used to think Bill Clinton was the biggest waffle ever. I think it's Tim Pool now. The wind blows, he changes with it. Him and the Young Turks. Which one do you want? Do you want right wing waffle or left wing waffle? There you go.
I don't even know if he's really a right wing waffle. In traditional times, he'd be more considered like a
middle waffle. But in recent months, he's gotten more and more to the point where I'm just like, he's not Alex Jones levels of crazy yet, but he's getting there
very fast. But I think whenever people shoot things in your house and they leave bullets in your furniture, I think that would make anybody crazy.
Oh yeah, but the thing is that I've been watching him for a very long time, and I've watched his slow descent into. He's gone crazy. He's gotten successful. He's gotten power, and he's going crazy. It's kind of fun watching it happen. I don't watch him as religiously as I used to, but you know what? He's still on my podcast driving list. That if I see a title that I want to listen to, I might listen to it. But I would rather listen to something more interesting than him. I am really honestly. But the thing is that but we gotta realize that everyone's looking for a clickbait, and PBS got what they wanted, clickbait. And fuck, WotC got what they wanted. What if we all talk about Dungeons and Dragons, but suddenly now we are ultra fucking focused on this shit. It's like, dear fucking God. Rather than as a community trying to find other things that we love and talk about the things that we love and push them, we're talking about how this one company that produces one game that we all middlingly tolerate is changing a game that none of us play. Or if we do play, it's only because of the fact that we have no one else to talk to game with, and they all want to play the lowest common denominator game. Because, well, yes, I show up to every, like, I know as a Mage the Ascension player, which, by the way, that's my icon, the Technocracy, and the SPD is Special Projects Division, which is a division of the Technocracy, which is the evil part that does all crazy shit. There's lore behind the icon and name title today. But as much as I'm a Mage the Ascension player, I know that there is a grand total of about 70 to 100,000 of us in the country, who are actively playing this, and that's by gross estimates. There's probably about 20 to 30,000. So there's almost no chance I'm ever going to find a legit in-person Mage the Ascension group to play with. But boy, am I going to talk about the good parts of this game. Because while I may not be able to play it, I want to talk about the good aspects, because it might allow someone to make their game a bit better. But instead, we constantly go back to what is Paizo or WotC doing. We can talk about Rifts. Rifts has got some. Nobody plays that one either. As much as Max's stream loves did an entire year of it, we've all played Rifts, but none of us play Rifts currently.
Mm-hmm. Not anymore.
If we do, it's like this nostalgic walk down into, oh shit, this math is terrible. Why is this game so crap? Dear God, why do I die as someone looks at me funny? Gameplay. It is.
It is not bad. It's actually quite a bit of fun, but nobody wants to take it. It's weird because when you aren't playing a game that's embraced by big hobby culture, big hobby corporation, if you're playing not big hobby corporation game, like going into that, you're like stepping on floor panels, like you're expecting the floor to fall away from you at any time.
Pretty much.
And you expect that game to go away. And it's really sad, but I've been hearing other people mention this. Like, we've got Vic in chat. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he's doing his own stream right now, but he got tired of waiting for me. Damn it. Anyway,
it happens.
He's got his own game systems out. He's got some really cool stuff that's come out. And between him and the Basic Expert, I've been reading through some of their stuff lately. And they've got a really nice Fallout-esque post-apocalyptic game. And I just finished reading it last night. It's Atomic Punk.
Yeah.
It's not bad. It's really a good game. And I'm worried that there might be 15 or 20 groups of it in the States that play it all together. Like, no, that game deserves love.
It does. And the thing is that rather than all of us pushing and actively trying to find other people to play these wonderful games that are out there, it's like I've got a number of games that I would love to play, but selling them is hard because we always default back to sorted board game. And we always default back to bitching about WotC. Dear God. I mean, but the thing is that's so when it dominates our every thought, our every conversation, I default to it a lot because everyone knows it. And we just don't talk enough about other games. But here's the thing. And the thing is that not all of us even agree on what's a good game. So I know when Shadowrun comes up, which is a terrible game, but the lore is fun. And for someone like me who, like, my metrics for what I consider a good game is I want to know the inner workings of the game. Like if a vehicle is created in a game, I want to know how to can I reverse engineer it? I want to know how it works. So therefore, that's why while everyone's like, oh, I like first, second edition Shadowrun, or I like the later editions, I will hug third edition because it was the edition that gave me the most access to the inner workings of the rule set. So I can understand how every spell was made, how every gun was made, how every vehicle was made, how every computer program was made, because there were books that were released because FASA was beautiful for this, by giving you the tools to understand how everything works. Not that I want to create custom everything, but as a GM, I want to be able to custom make everything and make sure it fits within the rules. So that way I'm not making something that's just complete trash. That's just going to roll over you and end all fun because I don't know how to balance a game it because, well, I'm sorry, but Bob over here doesn't understand how to create a new vehicle that's actually fair. Well, no, I can go through and go, yeah, I can tinker with the math. It's why I like Traveler so much, because Traveler gave me the ability to reverse engineer everything under the sun. It's why I like Battletech. It's like, so those are my standards for, can I reverse engineer every single character? To be able to, like, I don't like GM Fiat. So those are my benchmarks for what makes a good game for me.
I can understand that. I can really see that. Boy, the more I think about that, like that really helps me figure out why Kai is the way Kai is.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's how you happen. You give him the ability to make blueprints, or at least the ability to read the blueprints for each and every plugin for these fun little games. And thank God, I mean, as much as I bitch about third edition for the world's most popular engine, I am going to say that at least third edition had like an identifiable engine that was associated with it, and you could craft with that.
Yeah. And the thing is that the more black boxes you put in it, and the more you don't know how it works, the more you have to just make it up. The more Mother May I you have to play to be able to do anything with it. And I know I used to get into huge fights with Shabzar over this in his chat over the fact that I called D&D an engine that you slap a setting on top of because it's so setting agnostic. And I know if anyone ever says, "Oh, but no, but it was meant to be played with Greyhawk," I'm like, "Yeah, Greyhawk. That gives you a whole page in the book at best, if you're lucky, and a list of gods that give you a sentence blurb based on what they are, and here's their domains. Good luck from there." Do you know how to run? Do you know any of the major settings? Do you know any of the major gods and what their tenets are? What do they believe in? No, you get an alignment and some minor stuff, and the rest of it is glue it on as you feel. And second edition was the same way. It was glue on. Like, we're gonna play D&D. What setting are we playing in? Oh, we're just playing D&D. Okay, so it's a homebrew. Can you give me all the relevant information that we're going to need? Yes. Okay. So therefore, you're gluing whatever you want to it, which is the reason why I liked it for so very long, is because I homebrew enough that I glue whatever I feel to it. Now, mind you, I got yelled at for, it's not an engine. Engines are for cars or for computer programs. I'm like going, actually, the game rule set is the core programming for the game. It is the core that tells you how to build your character, how to play it, and now you may now function within the game rules set. I know I focus so much on story, but that's because of the fact that I use a rule set that is, for the most part, functional. As much as I hate Pathfinder, it's a functional rule engine for what it does. Now, I have to go and glue on everything else that I want to make it do what I want. Now, mind you, this is kind of like being a Linux programmer, where you spend 3 years to go program in a fucking sound card, but you're making it yours. And this is why I get so angry with it. I'm so frustrated when somebody goes, "No, the true ideal of the this is the true character ideal of the game." Like, no, the ideal is simply you put your own work in. You put garbage in, garbage out. You put in good, you get good out of it. Now, some games, the setting is hard-boiled into it. I can't run, like, I would find it very hard to say run Legend of the Five Rings in a Western setting. The game just does not.
It didn't work well. We tried.
I tried too. It doesn't work. I tried really hard to like merge 7C and L5R, which are nearly similar game engines, together, and it was just not working because I wanted to have I wanted to have the arrival. I wanted to run a Shogun like I wanted some Gaijin a Gaijin warship to wash up on shore, but the systems aren't compatible. They weren't. So it's really hard to mix games where the setting is hard coded into it. So I can't run. It's like I might be able to run Exalted. No, not Exalted, but The Expanse in a few other systems because it's a slightly generic engine. But I wouldn't want to. I wouldn't be able to run Homeworld. Dear God, that's a fun game. But the closest game I might be able to run Homeworld with is with Star Trek because they're similar engines. But those are both hard boiled into the rule set, setting boiled into the engine. Unfortunately, D&D is a generic system, which is why I really can't get behind the all. This is how it's supposed to be. How the conversation on Thursday and Friday, because I watched part of the stream, kept on going back to, which is while I understand bioessentialism exists, and I do respect that on some levels. Because of the fact that I can run this game as Forgotten Realms, I can run this game as Eberron or Ravenloft or whatever. And when someone's like, "Well, game was like this even back in the old days," like I pulled out my old second edition rule book, opened it up, and looked for the great defining traits of all your races. The thing that's supposed to be, this tells you how to play game, how to play character. It's like 2.5 paragraphs for each race. That's it. That is all you have to work with to determine. And all the stereotypes that we all have for our races, where all elves are actually tree humping music lovers who are lazy as fuck. That's not in the rules. Nope. That's not even in the book. That's nowhere to be found. I mean, it might have been in like first, because I don't have copies of first or any of the older editions. All I have is AD&D second, still from my old days. So going back to that, I don't have like dwarves like underground. They work good with tools. That's what you got. Dear God. Where we get all of these stereotypes from? I mean, sure, Tolkien, yes, but the thing is that Tolkien is not Forgotten Realms. If I'm playing Middle Earth roleplay, play Middle Earth roleplay, or tell me, hey, we're going to play elves. By God, I'm going to ask which age of elf are we talking about here? If we're going first age, oh fuck yes. Third age, not so much fun.
No. We got David Guile in chat as well, and Aaron Dragon, Maliki, and Mr. Max Boyven. Hey, Flady. I'm curious as to why the big corporations don't want to have conversations like this, because I would think that if you could, at least have your audience understand that you're getting sold a game engine. Like when I was there in 2002, and it finally was clicking with me when I was looking at the third edition game. This is kind of like a Quake game, but we're really just getting the Quake engine, and we have to modify each and every individual table like level designers build levels for this game, right? And they said, yeah, that you finally you're starting to get it, and they're like, wow, this guy's slow. I didn't believe that because I didn't think that was how it ran in second ed. And in second ed, I always look at it as like you're more of a director or you're a writer. And in third ed, no, you're just a programmer, Bruce. That's all it is. You put things in there, and you really just put the tools down there and let the players fuck with it. Let them fuck with it, and it will work itself out. And that's a lot less intelligent than what I wanted to come out with. But
oh no,
the main thing is that like you have to let the players be able to move things around. And in third edition, it felt like they were finally getting a chance to see how everything was assembled for the engine.
Mm-hmm.
It took us 25 years in gaming to get to that point. And here we are. We're still stumbling over this because fourth edition, they had a GSL, which really made a lot of advertisers, a lot of creators turn the other way. And man, you're going to hate me. Thank God for Paizo. They came out and they said, we still like this edition. We like this engine over here. We can make it work. And they made their game. And in 2009, we got a chance to play it, longer. And I didn't realize how influential that would be for the next 10 years of my life. I was pursuing time and ways for me to just have a table.
Yeah. And with brutal honesty, it's like, I didn't see the problem I always have when it comes to new editions is always the idea that as somebody who likes splat books, I like tools, I like flavor. Mm-hmm. I can play with basic bitch starting core books. I can. It's never as much fun as because by the end of an edition, you start getting the ability to have because even with second, I know some people hated it, but I loved the player's option books. The ability to customize races, customize classes, customize, make marshals more entertaining. We loved it because it was a precursor, it was a preview of what was coming, and we loved it because we had players who loved having, because I guess after we were in that era that we played first and second, we enjoyed it, but then Storyteller happened. And suddenly we got games where it wasn't just simply, here's your life path, here's your level, here's your prescribed what you're going to do. At this level, you get this ability, here's your optimal choice. This is and even in second, you still have that. Here's your optimized choice for what spells are going to be the most effective for what you're going to do. And then suddenly we got the options to, I can do whatever the fuck I want? Oh, God. And suddenly now it's like players' options gave us races, classes, ways to customize, even your stat blocks. You still rolled them, but you got your stat blocks where had give or take that. You guys I'm more strong than I am. I can carry more than I am strong. Okay, because they broke up each of the stats by by 2. So you actually had 12 stats. 6 base and 12 derivatives. And you worked from there. It was a nice, interesting way to add customization and more detail. And this came forward, and I understand it. And now we jump forward 20 plus years into the future. Now we're at Pathfinder 1, Pathfinder 2. I was really hesitant to move to Pathfinder 2 because I'm an options dweeb. You cannot give me a game that will give me more options, because I did buy a lot of third-party books. There's a reason why for a longest time I offered all of my players the ability to play channelers from Wheel of Time, because that was a far better spellcasting engine than the traditional D&D spell engine. I really liked the World of Warcraft RPG because it added a lot of really awesome mechanics to the game. I stole that. I stole Scarred Lands. I stole from Weird Wars because it's World War II, but a lot of those cool feats and options suddenly gave you the ability to have the officer, because Weird Wars 2 Blood on the Rhine, I allowed you to have the officer trait where suddenly your character who has diplomacy and command and a high charisma is able to give directions and give battle plans. And suddenly I'm using some World War II tactics and in my fantasy, but now suddenly you have, without having the 4th edition champion or warlord or whatever, I forget what it's called, battle commander thing, but you have a character who, if I don't want to be a mainline frontline combatant, I can spend my actions directing everybody else in the battlefield to give them bonuses or reduce fear checks, and improve our initiative, improve movement rates. Like because I gave people the ability to be a commander on the back, to be an officer and let everybody else be the grunts who do all the heavy lifting. But you're the smart guy in the back whose awareness, perception, and direction is telling everybody else to do this. Suddenly, you got somebody who's not. It's not just the cleric who's the important guy. Like everybody has a potentiality of being important, and I bought so many different books. I bought books because it gave me options to make poisons actually deadly. I bought books because it gave gear, because not everyone has options to magic at all times. So you need to have non-magical solutions. So after over a decade and a half of accumulating mountains of lore and mountains of options to make everything more interesting, it was hard pressed for me to go to Pathfinder second, or even to 5e, because the initial release you got basic bitch book, and dear God, what do you do with basic bitch book? You play a basic bitch character, and after you've seen the top of the mountain of what you could possibly do, going back down is very, very hard.
Yeah, that's kind of why I'm still in 3rd edition or 3X mode, because as much as Pathfinder 2 looks nice, and the more I think about it, like, that would make sense. If you get higher level, you should have higher level things open up for you as your race, along with your class. I get the ancestry feats and the class feats. I get that.
And as I've enjoyed running Pathfinder 2 now for about 2 years now, I didn't touch it until somebody gave me a copy of the Advanced Player's Handbook, and suddenly it added the classes that were missing. It added options, and then suddenly we got the Gunslinger and Tech book. The Spellcaster book arrived, and suddenly we now had all the options I was missing. And suddenly now I opened up the Pathfinder 2 book, and oh my God, is this? I can see how someone could look at this and go, I have no idea what I'm doing. This is overwhelming. And I'm like, oh yeah, it was completely overwhelming. I spent a good solid week just in almost a hour, a live chat every night trying to decode what the hell is going on with this game. But once I figured it out, it suddenly made a lot more sense, and the game became accessible.
Now, is Pathfinder 2, is it OGL?
No, I don't think it. Let me go.
Yeah, see if there's that crap at the back of the book there.
My books are trapped at the school at the moment. Let me go pull up my digital copy of it. Though, it's like, this is the problem when you have all your shit locked away in a school book. And I understand the disliking the bloat. I mean, some people don't want it, and I understand that.
Yeah, I really don't want to have it in my game. I'm happy with 12 classes. I'm happy with 6 races. And I think that if to ask for more when there's no narrative need to drop it in, that there's no joy in it. Like, we played Pathfinder for 3 years in the same campaign, and the party went to Bard's Gate, where they found there was a group of rat men underneath the city, and they're like, what the hell?
Yeah.
And they played for 3 years, and they're like 10th, 11th, 12th level, and they're like, you're adding a new race? And I'm like, yeah. While you're here, if you guys want to create a new race or a new character or a cohort to replace somebody, you can, because there's a narrative reason for you to pick one up now. If you don't, you're losing out on it. And they're like, fuck. And watching them twist themselves for like an hour, and nobody took the bait, which is fine.
Oh no,
they were like, damn. And I'm like, if you go back to Bard's Gate, if you have a reason to go back there, you poke around and you might find another ratman that's ready to join the party. If not, you're who you are.
Oh no, Pathfinder 2 is still a 1.0a OGL licensed book.
So that's where Wizards is wanting to get the money from right there. If they can get Paizo to just sign this line, just convert your game over to 1.1, we'll be more than happy to look at all of this and curate it and make sure all of it fits within our happy narrative that we have, because that must fit within the 1.1 OGL, and we have to curate it. We have to make sure it's good, and we can't let people add to this that wouldn't be able to bring a happy, fun time game mechanic into our world.
Yep. And honestly, the thing is that every lawyer on the planet is going to go, "Fuck you." And with the way that WotC is burning money and Hasbro is burning cash, everyone's like, "It's a major company." I don't think Hasbro is going to want to flush a lot of money down the shitter. I don't.
Yeah.
Not if with the way that I'm seeing various groups start because I think Hasbro have made one major mistake with us, is that they assumed that we were the standard usual ignorant masses that don't know anything. They forget that we are the greatest rules lawyers of the entire fucking planet. Our hobby is rules lawyering. Some of us who... Nope, shut the fuck up. I answered. Sorry, I'm on a stream. Sundays, not answering. But they forget that half of us aren't could be rules lawyers, but aren't rules lawyers, and we're willing to open up archaic books by the mountainful. And dear God, we're going to and I've watched lawyers comb over the leak, and I think WotC that leak was to test the waters to see if they could do it, and I don't think they're going to be able to. Again, I think this is all EA at their core going.
EA or Microsoft, whoever it was they hired this schlup from.
The EA exec thinking that we are as dumb as video game players. We're not.
No.
We happen to be video game players, but we're not dumb like video game players. So I really do think that they thought we were a bunch of schlups who would accept this because, gamers are dumb as fuck. Because, gamers are dumb as fuck, and video game people are dumb as fucking rocks, and because they got no other choice. Because here's the thing, they think they can treat us like a video game, and I know that that we bitch every once in a while. It's like, ugh. They just want to turn, D&D into an MMO, all the shit that we heard from 4th edition, and I'm sitting here going, I would kill for a taunt mechanic in the game. You know that, right? Mm-hmm. I would kill for the fighter or paladin player to be able to roll intimidate and generate threat to keep crowd control over a battlefield, so that way monsters would stay focused on them rather than run up and butt rape the cleric and wizard. I would love this mechanic, but we're not playing a video game. We gotta just RP it, and so of course, if EA wants to do something stupid, or EA or Activision goes, or Microsoft goes, we want to do something stupid. What's a video game player going to do? Stop playing? Oh no. I stopped playing on my Xbox? I can't play on anything but my Xbox. But they're coming with this idea that it's blah, blah, video game. And they realize that, no, we don't need to play by virtual tabletop. Some of us play at a Denny's in the middle of the night. And we throw money at our waitress so she doesn't chase us out of the back room. We're at the back of a Perkins role playing. Hell, we're at the back of a bus stop role playing, on a train RPing because we're on a small trip from Chicago, from Peoria to Chicago, and we're bullshitting and gaming while we're rolling because somebody's got dice on them. we're RPing in text chats. Sending emails back and forth. There's no way to control what the fuck we do. And if they gatekeep it behind, oh, you gotta pay to have access to this and to this information. I'm on enough pirate sites on the universe that whatever's released will get into general public. And, well, you can't put it on a wiki. Fuck you. Someone's gonna put it on a wiki. There's gonna be a research document somewhere. It's not official, but somebody's gonna have it. And everything they produce is going to become out there. We're all going to use it anyways. So, like, the only people you're going to monetize are the schlubs who have to own everything. But there's way too many of us who don't, and who are going to just ignore this and keep on playing. We played through the end of TSR. We played through the first and second deaths of White Wolf. We're gonna keep on playing these games. Fuck, there's a few of my friends who still play first edition Rogue Trader. I mean, like actual Rogue Trader from Games Workshop way back before Warhammer 40K. We still play with that because it's fun. There's a few of us who still play Rogue Trader, the role playing game, first edition, not second edition or the current edition, because games are fun. WotC thinks they can just control it because they have what? A license? Fuck no. We're going to keep on fucking making it. And fans are going to produce shit. Hell, there's people who, when Sword and Sorcery, which was just White Wolf's D20 division, and closes doors at the end of third, they didn't even have the final 2 books were never even released, and players just kept on putting out more information. Because we're going to fill in all the blanks for you. It's like, everyone thinks that this way, but I guess I'm in different circles than what the majority of people who are in quote unquote the gaming circles are in. I'm used to being in niche games. Fuck. Please note, Mage the Ascension. If I'm not used to being make it yourself niche content, I don't care. I don't know what is. I'm used to the idea of being niche. I think a lot of people are just used to they're playing a game that became popular, became mainstream, and is now self-destructing and thinking that's going to take down their favorite genre again. And I'm like, your genre is like cool, and this happens. There are always boom and bust cycles. And you know what? There's people who play Ars Magica still. There's still people who play GURPS. Dear God, just let people you just gotta go find these communities and these groups, and they exist. Enjoy them, and they are crack addicts.
But Millimeter says nobody role plays anybody. It's all board gaming. There are some of us that actually are trying to get people to role play. I understand that. I heard that. I heard a complaint or a critique of my game from yesterday night because they're upset that we were board gaming or whatever, and they were saying, "Well, you got a hex grid on sheets on top of your grid on your game, and what's going on here? We don't even know what's going on." I'm like, "Well, if you watch the entire 8-hour video, you would understand what's going on. Was there a lot of RP in that game? No, but the players were responding to a threat, and they were able to actually, in a sense, do role play, but they did more role play at the very end and at the very beginning. But when they saw the grid, and that's the problem that I have with the grid. When you put the grid in front of players, they start doing things in a tactical sense. Jimmy's only 15 feet away. I need to go 15 feet into a charge and stab Jimmy. Or the Goblin Bob is over there, and in 2 speed rounds, or in 2 segments, Bob will cast Magic Missile and knock me to my feet. Or knock me to my ass. And they think tactically when they see that. That's why I want to get rid of the grid. You can keep the inches. This is your friend. This right here, I think this is going to be the solution for my gaming needs.
Oh, yeah.
I don't need a grid.
And the thing is that now, hilariously, I did something like that for a while before I went back to grids, actually. Because for the longest time, I had to game in a very, very small gaming space. Like, I had a small 4-foot by 4-foot table. That's all I had to play on for like a good solid decade. So, putting out a mat with like lots and lots of terrain on it, not possible. When you try to cram 8 people around a 4x4 table, you're not going to get that. get that to happen very often. So a lot of things had to be done by, I hate to say it, theater of the mind. Yes, I painted miniatures for all my players, so that way they can look at it and go, "This is my character," and I can draw something on a small bit of paper and go, "This is roughly where you are." So they have a little visual representation, but we never use it for tactical movement. But a lot of it came down to figuring out, general. People had to learn general positions, like, hey, this is where I'm at. This is where this is my general movement rate. I'm closing distance. Like it also came a game of like almost gunnery, where you're estimating this is my rate of movement. This is their rate of movement. This is our rate of closure. This is the angle that I can attack at. Like that made fucking sense to me, and everybody else eventually learned and followed along with because, well, how else are we supposed to play this game? I mean, on an 8.5 by sheet of paper, and then me putting X's, and then general range, different changes of range, and all this. It's why it's like people are like, oh, I can only engage like this. Well, no, you gotta move. Like now that I have access to a table that's actually large enough to put a large hex map, hex map or a large grid down. Yeah, we've gone back to grids because, well, space. But listen, for a solid decade or so, it was just theater of the mind shit going on.
No, I don't have a problem with theater of the mind. I used to do it all the time with Star Wars D6.
Oh yeah,
I used to do it all the time with AD&D Second Edition.
Oh
the
yeah.
reason why I use grids right now is that I've got it at the table.
And
go ahead.
It's also good. It's also good for those of us like now. If we're all sitting at a table, at a table, theater of the mind works really, really, really good for that because hell, I can look at someone and go, yeah, you're about 10 feet away. You're this distance. This is what you're at. And then I've got this really horrifying CIC battle chart going on here. That's tracing everything that's moving on here, but they got to figure out what they're at. But when you got all of us who are sitting here, in Scotland and around the country, and looking at a grid, having the grid that you've got helps out so much. Especially the way I love the way that you have the grid numbers on the sides. So that way I can say, this is, hey, I'm moving to this direction here, moving. For me, that makes sense to me. And therefore I'm like, yeah, that's fantastic. And I've had to actually adapt and use what you've done in the school game because during the COVID years, I had like half the club there was phoning in from, from internet land and having to show the grid in real time. And having kids having to give me their direction of movement based on the grid square sections made fucking sense. So
it works for online game.
Yes, it does.
I do think that the next iteration of the game I want to run, or that I really want to run, is going to be more gridless. You might have a piece of scenery on the table, or you might have like, there's a big giant here, and you guys come up to the giant.
That's about what I do anymore. So
what are you doing? And like tell people like, okay, what are your options? What do you want to do? And they're like, well, what can I do? Well, what are you going to do? How far away is the giant? About 10 feet. What? He's about 10 foot away.
Oh dear God.
And they're like, you need something. If not, the giant will look at you like you're just food and he's going to stuff you in the bag.
Yep.
And if they're not able to rationalize something and have it fall out of their mouth, they cannot start to role play. No, they will probably be eaten, probably be taken away in a bag, a big, nasty, bloody, smelly bag, and be chewed on later. And their character will have to start again with 3 dice 6 as they fall.
Yep.
And that's just it. And I know that for you like the newer schools of thought and all that. But I really, for just like getting a game started, 3 dice 6 as they fall is fantastic. And just get something started.
Yeah,
Get the idea, So like maybe, oh well, you don't get the intelligence you want, but you have a character that's pretty okay wise, and he's charismatic. Okay, that's a
hard.
starting point. Let's go there, and
Yeah,
start working on like what do you want to do? What type of character is this going to be? And once they get that, then we can get into fine tuning. Like, okay, here's your racial abilities, here's the skills you can pick, here's
yeah,
and that works. But I'm getting the players like yesterday. I had 2 hours of analysis paralysis at my table because I had a sheet of paper basically, and I'm like, okay, well here's the spot where you're supposed to be at. What way do you want to come from? It's really cold. What? You're on a great glacier. It's very cold. You need to get in here and either hide or you need to either start sieging the place. What are you going to do? And for 2 hours, I listened to these poor seven people talk about how are we going to do this? What's going on? What do we do? And then finally, they bumped into an NPC and they started discussing things. And the NPC gave them a little bit more information, but it says, "I really don't know what's going on here. You have to go find out." And they're like, "Fuck." So they spent 3 hours hemming and hawing over this camp, and the druid the whole time is having to cast endure element spells because they're otherwise going to start freezing to death and taking lethal damage from sub-zero temperatures.
right.
And it finally started working, but then the players, instead of going in and just like taking out one tent or one lookout tower and then everybody cram in there real quick and warm up and let's see what's going on here and let's just keep our heads down, instead of them just doing that or building a place to where they could like have instant mansion or whatever it might be, extra planar place where we can hang out and get our mind together and not have this gnawing cold nibbling at my extremities. They decided we're just going to start blasting shit. And here's the problem with the high level D&D or high level gaming. If you
Yeah.
give players a stealth mission, that will not be a stealth mission.
Nope.
They will go in and be like, "We're gonna burn all of our spending all the resources, and we're gonna make it like a Michael Bay movie."
Oh,
God
see,
bless them, but they've started.
see, I think this is where I guess my group experience is a little different from most other people's because I think because me and one other person, we have an extreme stealth attitude towards things. Like we're like the almost we would prefer to get in, get out, and kill one thing, and then that would be the entire point of the adventure. Was for 4 hours when you just simply get into that one guy and kill him, and then
Yeah,
escape without leaving the rest of the city on fire. Oh no, we're fully prepared to light the whole city on fire, but so we've kind of trained everybody else on how to think like we're all playing Hitman, the role playing game, and
that would
so
work really well.
was that
If that happened to my table, if they learned that really quick, if they crash coursed on that, it'd be fine.
yeah, it's like when you try to train people on how to play, play D&D like you're all playing special forces, like you're all playing assassins and hitman, where it's like so. I actually had the opposite problem where I'm like guys, I need you to actually fight the enemy and not go headhunting. And they all look at me like, no, we are going to go headhunting. We're going to go sneak in there. So it's like, and every once in a while we'll get one new player who has no idea that we're all playing special forces, and he comes in with a big giant, noisy full plate, and we all look at him like, we don't need you. But I'm the paladin. I have this great stats. I am untouchable. Like I am no. You're so loud and stupid. We'll have to fight through 45 encounters before we get to the guy we need to kill. And he'll probably leave because he's like, I don't want to die. And he'll escape in his attack jet and go flying off into the sunset, going, next time, Gadget, next time, when we want to kill that fucker. But because hey Garrett,
What's up?
not much. How you doing, man?
Well, I meant to be here at 7, and I apologize. I'm
I
still
had that
not.
problem too. It's okay.
It's okay.
No,
I'm sorry, Mike.
I've been sick since the 1st, and yeah, that's the reason I wasn't there Thursday. You can probably still hear it a little bit, nasally-ish, but yeah, I was literally in bed for 3 days. So
I understand. I had airbag dust in my lungs all for the last 2 days, so I'm doing okay.
You got an
okay?
airbag boy?
Yeah, so some woman decided to stop in front of me on the road, and I ran into her.
That sucks.
Yeah, my car's trashed.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
It's okay. It's okay. I've already got 3 cars I could potentially get lined up, so it'll probably be up Tuesday before I have a car again.
He'll have.
So go ahead, Garrett.
They have 3 cars now, just in case.
Right. Lined up. I'm looking at 3 cars right now, so that way I can have a car again. Right. But I'm borrowing one for the moment, so it's okay.
That's fair.
It's Peoria driver, so she decided that she wanted to stop, nowhere near near a stoplight where there's no turn zones. Yeah, it was perfect.
Okay, Garrett. The reason why we're having this stream is because we were discussing a bad article from PBS on Thursday.
Yeah,
I didn't get it. Say again?
Yeah, I watched most of it. Unfortunately, for many hours on the chill stream.
Okay.
Yeah, I caught about 2/3 of that one on the chill stream.
If you guys want to talk about it, we can. I will not add anything new to it because I have nothing new to add. But
yeah.
But my whole thing is, well, go ahead.
If you guys are going to add to it, we can. I'll pop it open and we will discuss.
Oh, no, we don't need to pop it open.
God, no.
Most of the people who are here were either in the chill stream or in the Thursday night stream. We don't. There just for us to give us our 2 cents. The thing with me is that with our tax dollars, yes, that's our tax dollars that wrote that. I will agree with that comment that was made. Number 2, they still do. Most PBS stations still do the local telethons and the give us money, and because we're amazing people and we put out all this content for you folks and everything. And the thing is that and what a lot of people don't realize is the PBS affiliates to the PBS corporate, I guess is the best way to put it, in order to have those redistributing rights. It's some, you're looking at NBC, CBS, all that. They have all of those distributions that they have to pay for. And a lot of times, we're giving that money, and that money is going straight back to people who are writing articles like this. Now, I'm not saying defund it whatsoever, but some red flags that throw up here. The thing is that the whole of PBS. I mean, look, they've shut the biggest thing for kids over to HBO now, which is Sesame Street.
HBO.
Oh yeah, Sesame Street is over on HBO now.
That makes no sense.
HBO is producing it now. It's on HBO Max. It's on, it's full blown. It's been that way. That was actually when I was still working with the cable company I was working with. That was one of the big selling points is, hey, for the kids, we have Sesame Street. For the younger kids, this is a great selling point to get people to buy it, blah, 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 blah. And
free. You now get to pay for it.
yeah, pretty much. I mean, they still will get a season or two behind now. So that's the big thing, is that, you know, it's that whole, yeah, okay, they bought it, okay, but still they still are allowed to show it on PBS because that's where it originally came from. That's where it, I'm with that. So, you know, the whole thing of the PBS is you know, underfunded. So what I think this is of kind of the, you know, quote unquote, like, you know, it's not really, it's the thing most like the Satanic Panic. They're trying to throw up all these red flags, all these things saying, you know, basically backing up what the SJWs are saying, because that's what's going to get them attention.
Yep.
If they get attention, they're going to get money. And that's the thing. The God, they're speaking our language. PBS is with us. We should support them. We need to give them money. And yeah, that's what it boils down to. This, to me, the way, you know, this was written very poorly, number one. Number two, they did not give all, you know, the background was lackluster. The work that they put in on this was not pure journalism. I'm sorry. And basically, to me, this is a money grab.
Yep.
Mr. Black Barnes says, John Hinton was my neighbor. I never played D&D with him, but he said he'd like to play an ogre, which is funny because he played the ogre on the Muppets.
Nice.
And then you have 28mm RPG saying nothing goes on TV, especially PBS, unless there's money pushing it or if there's an agenda.
Yeah.
Same with the MSM.
I mean, I think the only thing that I really and truly, you know, even as a, you know, when I was a kid, yes, I watched Sesame Street. That was the thing. But you know, when
Mr. Rogers ain't red.
And Mr. Rogers, yeah. But when you get to
Nova, lots of Nova.
Nova's actually good programming. It's very scientific. It goes into things. Now, the thing is that the thing that drew me, you know, as a young adult was, oh my God, there's this thing, even though it had been on the air like 10, 15, 20 years beforehand. Oh my God, there's Tom Baker as Doctor Who.
Yeah.
And that was the big grab for me. I was like, oh, well, I can watch this for free. You know, oh my God, you know, for the time, you know, that this was awesome sci-fi. And
all we had, of course, was awesome.
Yeah.
Don't look at set design. Don't look at the lack of a budget, but enjoy it.
Yeah, exactly. Now the thing is that they worked with what they had and they still made amazing stories out of it.
Mm-hmm.
But that was one thing that they actually got, and you know, with the, you know, the same type of format as what PBS is, I'm just wondering when they're going to make that transition over to like what the BBC does, where they're going to start walking around, which a lot of people who are in the US may not be aware of this, but yes. And Are You Being Served? Yes. Most amazing stories ever, because, okay, the story behind Are You Being Served is that that actually premiered during the Munich Olympics. And the reason that premiered during the Munich Olympics is after the incident that happened at Munich, they had to go back and plug in. They went and grabbed all the old, you know, pilots they had, because they had to fill time.
Yeah.
And that was one of them, and people love the concept of people in this department store, and I hate to say it, without Munich happening, that show would never have seen the light of day.
I'll agree with that.
And it was a tragedy, but we got one great comedy out of it. It's where there's tragedy, comedy always seems to exist. And truthfully, the more I've read on this subject, the I'm getting out of it because of the lack of research. And the thing is people who have been here, who have been through, even most people will downplay me because I came in during 3035, but downplay, oh well, you don't know what it was really like and everything else because blah blah blah. Well, you know what though, I've got friends who were playing well before that who I've sat at tables with, people who played the original D&D, who played chainmail, all that. And it was like a history lesson with you sit at a table with one of the founders of Judges Guild, you learn a hell of a lot about the gaming world as from both sides.
Pretty much,
and
we were blessed. I'll just say that.
Oh, Dave Searing was an amazing person, and he was willing to talk to necessarily agree with your views. He would still sit down and talk to you about them, and it wasn't him trying to change your mind with it. It was more of him.
Garrett,
and that's what's missing from the overall the entirety of the RPG community right now, is that fingers at other people that are
Garrett, your packet loss is getting kind of big. I'm just letting you know that you may want to monitor what's going on there. I know you've got your command center set up, and you might be wanting to look at your numbers. Garrett was talking about this guy, Dave Searing, that me and Blaine love to pieces. He, I believe he passed in the 2000 teens, and he was one of the founding members of Judges Guild back in Decatur, Illinois. And he was good at listening to what you had to say, and then he would ask you questions, not to try to change your opinion, but if he had an opportunity for you to go further down an avenue on something that maybe you weren't doing enough on, Dave would kind of show you that route, and you would be able to get in to a new level of thought or a new level of how you could have your game affect your players and your table and your future tables. Kai, you had a few conversations with Dave, I'm assuming, correct?
Dave is the entire reason why my camera's not working right now, but is it him being so technical is the reason why I have 3 massive shelves of research quality source books that are actually into technical fields of military equipment, because of the fact that talking to him and I'd say something and he would rattle off details and knowledge. In fact, I go, I have no idea what you're talking about. But rather than being ignorant and going, I don't know what you're talking about, I would go and figure out what the hell he just told me, and learn whatever he told me. So there's a reason why I now have way too many books I have paid way too much for that all had the words Naval Institute Press on the side of it, because of him. Because I hated the fact that I didn't know what he was talking about. But
Yeah.
but rather than assume that I was an idiot, he would tell me all this stuff, and then I would later reverse figure out what the hell he just told me, and then later come back to him and go, "Wow, okay," and have him go, "So did you figure it out?" "Yeah." And then we would talk about, and then I would explain what I figured out, and he would tell me more about weird shit, and this would go on for. It was a I was learning from him, and he was had to be patient with me, and I enjoyed every second of it. And now I have too much knowledge on too many things that I don't need to know, and I love it.
There was a book that I read when I was a young man in the Navy called Day World by Philip Jose Farmer. And I was explaining to Dave one time how I thought it was neat and it was revolutionary because we had overpopulated ourselves and we had gone into a society to where we didn't have houses anymore. We all, at the end of our day, we would wander to our little pod and get into the pod. And then the next day, somebody else would get out of the pod and they go live in our world. And this happened 6 days a week. And one guy figures out how to get out of the pod every day. And he figures out how to start living, but he has a problem because he's now got 7 identities he's got to maintain. And
Yeah,
it's fantastic. And I was explaining to him, I said, I'd love to read it again because that was 10 years ago. And Philip Jose Farmer books appeared for me at the store, and he gave me Day World and the 2 sequels. It if you ever get a chance to read Philip Jose Farmer, anybody in chat looking for good sci-fi, Philip Jose Farmer. That's all I'm going to say. There's other great authors out there, but I want you guys to not stop reading. And if you find a good author that you really like, that you think might turn me into an animal for their stories, go ahead and put it in the comments. I'm getting the list and I'm saving the chat here. So we need more books that expand ourselves, and the Day World series really did a hell of a number on me when it came to creating a world. And there's a lot of lessons in there, but I just we were blessed to be affected by one of the creators of the third party market for D&D, and that was Dave Sirian, who worked for Judges Guild, the first third party company ever. And they were mentioned in the first edition Dungeons and Dragons Dungeon Master's Guide. If you guys will look in your version, you'll actually see that they give you the address on Sunnyvale Road in Decatur.
you know the really
Yeah.
bad part about all this is I never knew this about Dave. I never knew that about Dave at all until long after he was gone. I only knew Dave from being a miniature builder and and naval enthusiast, and so it wasn't until long after he was gone that I found out about the rest of the D&D shit. And I'm like, wait, what? Okay, cool, but yeah, that wasn't what I knew him for.
Well, he had his name on a lot of things for D&D. Uh, they were just mainly like the Judges Guild books that I had were mainly just like 10 or 20 room dungeons that had some empty spaces, but they gave you enough things so you could start a game, but you could embellish or you could improvise or you could just have a set of rooms that were nicely laid out or a set of caverns and you could add things to it. The artwork wasn't the greatest, but what was really great about it was that there were many of them that were tied together and they offered you enough empty space. You could also run your own narratives through like 5 or 7 or 20 encounters. And there were quite a few that referred you back to Tegel Manor, which was like the granddaddy of all haunted houses. We need to start trying to develop a sounding board or more of a echo service for whenever we find a good creator. That way they don't get drowned out by big social media, big tech, big corporate games.
That sounds like a great idea, honestly.
They're I mean, you have little guys like Basic Expert, David Guile. You have some people that are mid-size that, like Creighton Broadhurst for Raging Swan Press. You have people that are out there with their own game engine that they're trying to stay away from the OGL pit. And nothing wrong with the people that are in the OGL pit, but it could change. We don't know how it's going to go in the future. If they go by the wording in the existing contracts before 1.1, all those books will be safe. I'm worried that somebody's going to foul up somewhere and they're going to educate that you can't have anything except 1.1 books available on marketplaces. So all the stuff that you've got on DTRPG, all the things you bought on online markets, they're going to try to dry those up. If you've got them on a cloud account, download it now. If you can make a few different copies of product, if you can, even if all you can do is back it up on a CD, do that. I'm not trying to be Sir Game Prepper, but I think the time is come where that needs to be addressed, because otherwise you might have invested or bought $2,000 or $3,000 worth of PDFs in the last 20 years, and because they were now part of an obsolete OGL, because big corporate gaming wants to force 1.1 on everybody, I think it'd be a good idea for you to get on your online services and download these over the next couple days, because apparently the leak was supposed to kick off nothing later than 7th, which is yesterday.
Yeah. Yep.
And I'm a little worried about that. I really don't want to see the things that I bought dry up. I don't have everything backed up. I don't think everybody has everything backed up, but I would really hate it if any of you, myself included, that any of you would have lost something that you enjoyed using. It's time to put it on physical media. At least see if you can, print it off at home or some such, because if not, you're looking at a very real possibility to where that might not be in a possibility within the next 2 or 3 weeks. Forgotten Realms, Greyhawk, all that stuff that you enjoyed, if you've got things that are on file, put them on a physical disc. Put them on a physical disc and just put that in your gaming cupboard. Let it sit there. It shouldn't deteriorate. If you've got a spare hard drive like what Garrett does, Garrett throws backing stuff up, I know. But do that. And
Garrett's closest one to an actual gamer prepper that all of us have.
What happened?
You're the gamer prepper that all of us want to be, actually, because I mean you do have the extra server and all that. But
Well, yeah.
I'm just saying that there's certain things that I have on electronic format that I don't have on physical format, and I'm a little sad about. Make a couple copies of them if you can. Put them in different locations, and you should be good to go. But I'm very worried, like many of us are out there, that some big bully on the playground is going to take away our toys. And I don't want to have to wake up and find out that, hey, all that's gone. All the things you bought when you were an oil field guy, those electronic books, yeah, those are toast. We had to get rid of those servers because they wouldn't update to the 1.1. Damn it.
Well, and some of the stuff I've been hearing about the 1.1 is that, everything reverts back to WotC, and if you make X amount of dollars, so like if you do a Kickstarter for $75,000, you still have to cut a check back to WotC.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're going to be trying to get into everybody's pockets because the game is under monetized, and this is something we found out before the end of last year. And I didn't really want to think too hard on it when that story came out. A lot of other people made hay about it, and now I find myself listening to old podcasts and the possibility is that like every little thing you want to do, now there's going to be DLC for it. You have to pay for it, and it's crap.
Well, I'll just say this: there's a reason that Hasbro and WotC employed a former Microsoft employee that was in charge of the microtransactions.
Okay, so he's Microsoft, not EA. I was convinced
Yeah,
he's EA.
It's
No,
not
he
EA,
was
it was
he was
Microsoft.
from Microsoft.
Okay, sorry about that.
It's
They're-
okay.
they're-
It's almost the same level of shit.
oh yeah, but yeah, we've done this, and I mean, I'm not. I'm just saying. I see the writing on the wall.
Yeah, pretty much.
And you can ask anybody that knows me very well. I will call a spade all day long, and from my just from what I'm seeing, that is the way they're going to go, regardless if they've said, "Oh, we're not doing it," things like that.
Yeah, right.
Of course, you're going to say that because you don't want to scare everybody off. You want everybody bought in first. Then you're going to make them pay more.
Yep.
That the big thing with it is, and I don't know if it was in the PBS article or if I seen it somewhere else, like TikTok, whatever. But when you buy the book, you get unlimited hours of entertainment from buying that book.
Yeah.
And the thing is you don't have to buy anything else.
That was the lure of it. You just had to buy the book, and you got a chance to jump in a game world or a game system that you never had to worry about buying that one product ever again. Now,
And that's the thing. And that's the thing is that Hasbro, WotC, however decided that's not good enough. They need more.
Yeah, you got to feed the beast. Don't you understand? Like, we can't subsist on these $30 hardcovers. We got to jump them up to $50 per hardcover, and now we have to have it to where the hardcover you have to just buy the cloud account, and then you can renew it for $20 every year thereafter. That just fills my mouth with bile when I say that.
I know. Yeah.
I'm not wanting to take part in that society. It sounds too Agenda 2030 from the UN, if you know what I mean. You'll own nothing and you'll be happy. No, I'm pretty certain I would rather own everything I want to play with. And
you're assuming that I'm ever happy.
And I think back in my life, when was the last time that Kai was happy? Oh, yeah, I saw him happy once.
Once. And you're right, and I hated it.
No, I've seen him happy for 7 weeks so far in the past, few months.
Yeah. we gave him a table that he didn't have to run.
Exactly.
And then fight like a bastard to not actually do what I'm told. Follow the plot line. No. Do the story. No.
No. I'm going to go get drunk and then go to sleep in my bed.
I'm going to go stalk a carny. Why? Fuck you. There's a plot. I don't care.
We're not at war. You can't boss me around. That was great. That was great. I really had more, and I'm not trying to say I like Jade's world better than Connell's world, but I like Jade's game better than Connell's game. I'll just say that. Jade has a better handle on index card RPG than Connell had on 5e, which I'm kind of really shocked about because Connell advertises himself as a GM that gets paid to run. And I look at him like I hope I hope you run better for your paying members than you do for the next non-paywall people. I like you, Connell, but I want you to get better. that's that's why I want you to be with us, because you're going to absorb through grandness. You're going to absorb like a sponge. We're just going to set you next to Kai, set you between Kai and Jade, and you're just going to become a better GM. Just absorb everything they say.
I'll try. All I'm here to do is teach.
Climbing that mountain hits us with a interesting one. Subscription access to property is feudalism, not hyperbole. Yeah.
Oh, no. Believe that one. I believe that one entirely.
Completely. Six Nation 31 King says we need to get a book author list. Okay.
Honestly, if you can put, you can just put like a pay. Cause we don't have anywhere else to do it at. That's easy because Discord's our way of doing it. Just put a Discord channel. It's just there for people to put authors and things that we think are good. That way we can all, so that way we can look at and go, this is good. Go for it. Did I freeze up?
No, you're good.
Okay.
I just got a message on Discord, and I got somebody busting my balls last night on a stream, which he was being kind of insincere, making fun of my game table, but he was like trying to act like he didn't know me or didn't know what I did. That's okay. Anyway, I want to put that up in Discord right now, and let me get that book and author list set up here. Go ahead, you guys. If somebody wants to talk, that way we don't have dead air and I lose like 70 people. No, we don't have 70. If I lose 7 people, which is about my usual, I don't want that to happen.
No, but it's a good idea because I'm sure a lot of people in chat here all have ideas of authors that they like that no one else really talks about, or a game that we all. This goes back to what I was saying earlier on. It's just simply we needed to talk about the good rather than always focus on all the bad shit. Prop up other people that we like, other games that we like, others, because you can't depend on Facebook or Twitter to be able to social media to be able to do it, because honestly, they're not what people like. Most of us tune it out now. Like, I don't know how many people actually seriously browse Twitter or seriously browse any form of social media. We go on, we look for our messages, we just scroll because we're shitting, and that's all we do.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, having a place where you and I could just, or anybody else could just give their opinion and say, hey, this is a good thing. And hell, if you want to just post a link, cool. Write a small little thing, blurb for why you think it's good, why others might like it. Do the advertising a little bit, because yeah, we're not here to make money off of this shit. We're here to just go, hey, I like this. Go ahead. That's honestly what it comes down to, in my mind, at least. So, then again, what do I know, really? I write a lot, so.
Yeah, and I keep meaning to get to your sub channel on my Discord and turn that into an actual video or 2 or 6, because I think people would find them funny as hell. I think people would actually find a lot of humor. When I used to read your Facebook posts, I found myself laughing out loud way too much.
Because I try to I try to be educational, but I also try to lace some humor into it, like an actual conversation. Like how we would actually be talking in real life. One of those stops and just go like, really? Is that what you're trying to say? And then move on from there. It's like, because you should be having fun with all this shit, honestly.
Boy, it'd be nice to have fun with all this shit again. We're getting close to the 9 o'clock hour, and I promised Janet that I'd be available for a movie at 9. But
no problem.
No, I'm sorry that I was late for 15 minutes and you guys had to wait. Garrett, are you going to be doing any adding to the internets this week or no?
All depends on how my computer decides to act.
What is wrong with your PC?
I have no idea. Try to see if the laptop's doing the same thing. This has been happening since my internet went stupid. So I'm not sure if it's the internet itself or if it's what it is. But I mean, I've been watching everything and this is fine. I don't know what's going on.
It's interesting.
That's odd.
Makes me feel like I'm back on dial-up, but I can play, games on.
That would be weird.
I've been playing on my buddy's Minecraft server all, on and off all week, and it's like, yeah.
Don't use Twitter, Facebook, or Discord. Recommend Paul F. Wilson, Repairman Jack, and Adversary series. The Keep. Oh, hell yeah.
All right.
If you kind of like the little sci-fi kind of thing, and even a little bit of like an RPG lit, He Who Fights with Monsters. And also, it's by a guy called named Shirtaloon.
All right. I'll keep that in mind. I'm done die now. Blah.
Hey, Flatty, how you doing?
Also, if you just want a funny one, because I've already exposed Kai to this one.
Oh God, yes.
Is Tom Stranger is written by Larry Carrera, who also does Monster Hunter International. It is hilarious. He's an intergalactic insurance salesman.
It is by far one of the best things you'll ever get to listen to.
There are so many things you're like, what?
Oh yeah. It's just good. Dumb as fuck, but good.
Oh yeah.
And I know I will periodically, mention I mentioned the Manatee I battleships because that's just you have to mention them at all times.
Yes.
Who?
The Manatee battleships.
Okay. I obviously need to be filled in. What is a Manatee battleship?
I think it's book 2 or book 1. Yeah, book 2. That you're introduced to probably to the idea that manatees are actually some of the most deadliest warriors in the entire universe. That they actually, I'm sorry, across the multiverse, and that if you insult them wrong, that they will actually launch their transdimensional battle fleet of manatee warships that will annihilate all the Earths across reality, and it's a beautiful thing.
Lady, didn't know you're having that go on, but I completely wish you luck this week and the best of health and the recovery aspect of it afterwards. Sorry to hear that's going to be going on. We don't know what's going to be happening with this OGL business. And until that takes place, I would actually encourage anybody here that's got a creative bone in their body, if you were working on a project like I am, if you were working on an adventure or something and you were wanting to write and you were going to use conventions like dwarf or elf, or you're going to say things like saving throw or armor class, if you had things in your adventure or campaign supplement, if you were going to have things like that, I would say keep writing it. And I wouldn't even put anything new OGL in there. I'd go find the base ass OGL, the 1.0A. I'd go staple that to the back end of your document. and go upload it to Big Geek Emporium. Joe just stepped in here. But go upload it to Big Geek Emporium in the current format that it's in under a working title, just so, and offer it for free at the moment. If it's not that big, if it is big, charge a few bucks, but don't gouge your audience. And why I am saying this is, if you get it up and out there, just release it before the new garbage hits. That way you're covered under the old version, which is good. And then continue to work on it. Finish it. Polish it up if you so choose, and then upload it again. Re-upload to biggeekemporium.com. And enjoy the money that you make. And the reason why I say that is that if these schlups force people to put everything under this garbage ass 1.1 crap, then you need to take out anything that might be considered IP out of your book, supplement, story, whatever it might be, adventure. Take it out. Just cut and paste. Get all their verbiage out of there and put in your verbiage that is findable within a thesaurus, and you can implement it your own. That way you can sidestep all that crap about the OGL. And David says the issue is that even if you get it out there under the current OGL, if this goes through, you won't be able to publish new edition later or even write new stuff for it. I would not even put the OGL in there if that's the case, because the new one seems to conflict so hard with the old one. There's no need, if they're going to be doing that, there's no need for you to even acknowledge this. Just let Wizards burn. Let them try to hunt for that money through Paizo and Kobold Press, Mongoose Publishing. Get off Watsy's drug, Big Geek says.
Yep.
It might be time for us to turn our back on it, because back in the beginning, the OGL was something that helped make the community what it was. It was nice. It was a way for you to have a product that everybody could plug into, and they could figure things out. Fizchozo, don't stop your campaign. If you can run it under a different engine or something that's easier for you to run, please do that. Grim Jim, according to David Guile, is working on a generic SRD type of thing that should be safe, and he's going to make it Creative Commons. Big Geekus says we are shrinking our D&D content on BGE. That sucks, but that's understandable. And whenever they say that, are they talking about one D&D as like 6th edition, or is one D&D going to fully envelop everything that was ever D&D, including the TSR editions, to where you can't even say Dungeons and Dragons without having some miserable northwest lawyer pop in like Mitzoflick and demand a silver token? God, that's a miserable thought. I'm axing all the D&D specific monsters from my game. Yeah, I would. There's things from literature and lore that you should stay and keep in there. 100% agree. Treat it like a fire triangle. Starve them out and don't buy their stuff. Don't use your stuff except what you already own. And lastly, when this is done, don't talk about them. Let them bag it. Yeah.
Pretty much.
Unless you can review them enough to make them meaningfully different. Yeah. Yeah, and I wouldn't care if they reverse course. You're talking about your livelihood.
Exactly.
And shouldn't be gambling with it. The dangers of big companies.
Yep.
Before we leave, Garrett, do you have anything?
I do not.
All right. Well, I appreciate everybody stopping by tonight. I know we kind of rambled in a circle or two.
It's okay. It's what we're here for.
Yeah. I appreciate each and every one of you that stopped by tonight. David Guile, Victor Gorchev, Flatey, Hungar the Starvarian, Big Geek, Biggest Geekus, which we look forward to watching you on Tuesday. And I really look forward to having more time with you guys. This evening I have to go. I haven't seen my wife all day because she's taking a nice big nap. And I'm going to go and have some quality time with family for a moment. I want you guys to have yourselves a good evening. I really appreciate you for the time you spent with us today. Thank you for watching me miserably paint my poor frost giant. And we look forward to seeing you throughout this week. We will see you soon.
Talk to
Bye,
y'all
guys.
later.